Welcome back to the Sika Strength News Show, where we bring you all of the weightlifting, powerlifting, athletics, and combat sports newsworthy stuff on this new show. And without further ado, no one knows what that means. We've got Ukrainian lifter. He's a 102 kilo lifter. It is Vadim Hodza. He is training, I assume, still in Ukraine, and he has the crispest 200 kilo clean and jerk you'll see this year. I'm going to think. I don't think you'll see.
It's just lovely.
I don't think you'll see a crisper 200 kilo clean and jerk.
That point of contact on his quads and that pull under just.
His back positions.
It's just so nice.
So this is the classic Ukrainian clean. So it's like essentially no hip extension, all knee extension, very little ankle extension, fast under, slightly leaning forward in the bottom position, so you don't want to be massively upright, and then obviously a perfect split jerk position.
His control during the dip and drive and the jerk is very, very nice. That bar is stationary before he starts his dip and drive as well.
Completely straight wrist position or very close to it. Beautiful lockout. The problem with Bodan is he's giving false hope to tall people that they could also lift like this. That they could somehow...
I'm here to tell you we can't.
You know, he's giving false hope to people who are under 150 kilos and are over 6 foot, and he's making them think that they could possibly do this. But in reality, they couldn't. They could not do this. This is a lie. This is the dream Trump sold Americans on when he was getting elected. Like, this is completely fabricated.
It's just complete. He doesn't even believe it's true himself.
He knows it's not true. He's getting paid by Russia to do this.
Even to have technique this good at 100 kilos would be impressive.
I love his lifting. Very little training lifts of him there. They don't post a lot. He snatched over 195 in comp from what I remember. We've seen him clean and jerk like 225. He's still a very young lifter. At the moment, I think he's maybe in his very early 20s. And I assume he's making a run for Tokyo Olympics. Tokyo, everyone says that. Paris Olympics next year.
And of course, timber paneling on the wall of the gym immediately bumps those points up a bit.
It is good for insulation in those cold countries.
Yeah.
We never have it here and it's a cold country.
No.
Because the timber is rot because it's so humid and cold.
It's wet.
Yeah, it's wet, hot.
Wet.
It's wet, cold, hot. Now, moving on from a blast from the past, we have Ivan Markov, who has, I believe, tested positive at least twice now. So we're just going to appreciate a 280 kilo back squat and it'll become apparent why we're looking at him. So this is 280 as an 85. Beautiful. Phenomenal.
It's just everything about that is perfect.
Let's watch it one more time. In silence.
I love that small extension of the lower back.
Yeah. It's just all quads.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He just fails to be underneath the bar then to unrack it.
Now,
no, there's no like big dip drive and...
Now, you might be like, why are you talking about him, lads? He's been banned. That's not recent. That's from years ago. And I'll tell you why, because he's now doing CrossFit. Yeah, he just uploaded this on his YouTube sometime yesterday. And he's qualifying for some classic, the Vitosha Classic, which I assume is a Bulgarian CrossFit event, and he's a team event. So this has got the little clock on. It's Ivan Markov. Still seems to be in very good shape. Arms look to be very juicy. Oh, are they doing squats? Oh, we might get to see something nice here. Or maybe it's his partner doing squats. Oh, let's see this. This is breaking news because I actually didn't see this bit of the clip because obviously I wasn't going watching a 16-minute CrossFit workout. Not even for the news show would I do that. We're doing front squats. Oh, he's unracking it. Strongest CrossFitter at the moment, I would think. Surely. Not quite as strong as the 280.
No.
Very Bulgarian front squats, aren't they? They're very... Get it the job done.
Wrists nearly touching each other.
This isn't like, these aren't front squats for like maximal clean transfer. These are get as heavy front squats done as possible. That looks to be something like 160 or 170.
What's your view on him doing CrossFit, Gerf? Do you reckon he'll be competitive internationally?
It depends how much he goes after it. You know, it really depends. It's impossible to say with weightlifters. You could get someone who's just got that all-round talent and they just transfer over really well and they just stick it out and they stick out that maybe up to 2 years of sucking at cardio before, definitely a year of sucking, and then they're like, oh, I'm actually pretty good, and they get to gymnastics. It's possible.
It is possible. It's, I think in most cases, less possible than people think though.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Yes, without a doubt.
Almost every competitive weightlifter in the world is like, oh, you just do CrossFit after. You're like, you're 100 kilos.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way. Like Clockoff was a great example of someone doing that
Yeah.
at the moment, who is trying to do CrossFit and is having a very hard time of it.
Yeah.
But Clockoff seems to refuse to lose weight.
Yeah, he just wants to be massive and jacked all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's refusing to take off his fingerless gloves and
The headband.
just go do CrossFit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's just refusing to do it.
See, the thing is, I think you just need to run so much and do so much erg work that you just have to be willing to be like a skinny triathlete for a while.
Like,
You know?
Anton's saying that at the moment. He said he's just trying to do loads of running and loads of rowing, and he said he
Yeah.
just find it very difficult.
Yeah, it's a complete 180.
Mm-hmm.
I think people think because the best CrossFitter ever was a weightlifter before,
Mhm.
that somehow it's like, oh, that's the perfect transfer. It's like, no, it's really not.
But he wasn't a very good weightlifter. Like,
Well, he was in the Olympic Training Center for 2 years in
yeah,
America.
but back in the day, that didn't,
Yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like that, he was a very solid weightlifter, but he
Yeah.
wasn't on the level of like Clockoff or Anton or
No,
Ivan
no.
there, for example.
No.
You know? Anyway, moving on, we've got Yarkin. So Yarkin, Vasily Yarkin, or I can't pronounce the first name. You know who I'm talking about though immediately.
Is Yarkin not the first name?
I'm not sure there because
Okay.
his coach is his older brother, is also Yarkin.
Oh, okay.
So this is a 165 from when he was 18. And there was a famous video of him snatching 170, which some of you might remember if you've been around long enough. That video is unfindable now, though. And if someone could find it, I'd be very interested to see, but I couldn't find it and I'm looking.
Yeah, it would be great if you could find it and let us know down below where to find it. Yarkin's technique has 3 major hallmarks for me.
What's that?
The first one is the massive hip contact.
Yes.
The bar is almost stopped and then he just gives a baby to the barbell. Second one is that lower back extension, and then the last one is the massive foot movement.
How I would describe those 3 things that you're talking about is how very un-Russian.
Yes.
How very un-Russian of him to be lifting like this.
A very unorthodox.
It's so strange that they just let this happen. Like, because there's videos of him when he's like 12 years old lifting like this.
Yeah.
And it's just so strange that they just didn't stop it, like, or change it.
Yeah, I wonder, is it just at the point where by the time he got to mainstream coaching
Mm-hmm.
or like national level coaching that it was already just too ingrained?
But surely any coach worth their salt coaching him, and he was obviously going through some kind of system. At
Yeah.
one point they were like, hey, can you stop hitching the barbell and smash it like that? Like, surely at some point. They have obviously tried. But then I suppose if you got to 170, you're probably going to be like, well, what's the point in changing this?
It's so aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so un-Russian to let this happen, to have this
Yeah.
happening, you know. It's just so strange. We never saw him kind of touch these weights again. I think we saw him get up to like 155, but we never saw him touch that 170 again. Is he still kind of lifting? Obviously, Russia, there was some discussion there last week or some Instagram polls on one of the IDF accounts talking about should like Belarus and Russian athletes be allowed to compete. And in the voting poll, people were resoundingly saying no.
Strange, isn't it?
It's like, I hate that thing where it's like, let's just keep politics out of sport, guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, sport is only politics.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah, yeah.
only reason they're getting paid is because of politics.
Yeah.
There's not this nonsense where it's like, it's going to get kids into lifting. It's going to get kids in.
We'll keep people more physically active, and then in the long run, we'll have a healthier population. No, it's not.
That's not true.
It's an outright show of might.
Yeah. Next.
Overall, I do like his technique, though.
I don't.
Don't you?
No, I don't like watching it.
I like it because there's a lot of panache. There's a lot of
Pizzazz.
va-va-voom.
Next, we have Roman Chappick, who's another Russian weightlifter. There seems to be some competition on recently from what I saw. And Roman has beautiful snatch technique. So we see him working up to 166 in the comp. And last warm-ups here, maybe 155, I'd say 150. And so there's 160. This is classic Russian.
Yeah.
Aggressive dynamic, or moderately aggressive dynamic start. Passive-aggressive dynamic start is what I'd call that. 163. Nice consistent start position, fairly jacked for his weight class. 166, boom, patient to the hip,
Yeah.
beautiful extension, pull under.
Quite athletic.
Yes, not too athletic.
No, but quite.
Otherwise he'd be doing other sports.
Appropriate amount of athleticism for a weightlifter.
Exploited by steroids.
Lovely technique.
Great foot movement.
A massive contrast to Yarkin.
That's what I'm talking about, because like if we looked at that video we saw of the 2000 camp in the one I did last or 2 weeks ago, all their technique essentially looked like Roman's technique, but nobody's looked like Yarkin. So he also clean and jerked 194 in this competition as well, but we don't see any video of that, which would be nice to see. His clean and jerk has that kind of weird, not as strong at cleans kind of thing that we saw like from Oleg Chen, for example.
Okay.
But we don't have any videos of it, unfortunately. And
Not as strong as cleans, but could jerk anything that's on his shoulders.
his jerk was quite good,
Okay.
but it's the clean that just made it so hard for him sometimes. Then we've got Luis Mosquera. He is a Colombian weightlifter, and this is a slick little 140 snatch from him. So we saw him, silver at Rio, I want to say, and then as far as I can remember, and someone correct me if I am wrong, didn't make Tokyo for reasons, I'm not sure why, and now he seems to be back training again. I think he might have been injured, but he is definitely one of the fastest under the bar modern weightlifters.
Yeah. Speedy Gonzalez.
He looks so casual in that outfit for some reason.
Yeah. A sick edit as well on the video.
I hate when they do that. They are all into that now as
I
well.
hate it. And when the music changes beat as the video changes, you know,
Yeah.
there's just no need.
Yeah, they love those edits. They love the flashy.
Yeah.
The Kazakhstan lifters, some of them
Or
are
like
murder for that.
panning up from the bottom right hand corner, you know.
Yeah, I just want to see the lift, please
Yeah.
and thank you. That's all. Like, 'cause
Don't slow mo it just as you're dropping the bar.
I think this might be a modesty thing where they're like, oh, no one just wants to see me snatch 140. But in reality,
Everybody wants to see you.
most people watching this, or half the audience at least, just want to see him snatch 140 without any funny edits. Like, I'd happily watch him go 50, 60, 70, 100,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, and snatch 140 then.
The other thing I really don't like is when they cut to the different weight. So the bar will go overhead and then suddenly it's a different weight
I
as it's
hate
overhead.
that. I do hate
I
that.
hate that.
Yeah, I do. I love the South American training halls. Loads of them. Like Brazil have really nice ones. Venezuela, Colombia. They have some really nice looking training halls. They're all very airy and fresh.
I was just about to say lots of room inside them.
I can't remember if I just said Brasilia there, but I meant to say Brazil.
Yeah.
Then we've got all the way on the other side of the world, essentially, we've got Izzy or Isabel. She's an Australian weightlifter doing clean front squat jerk with 120 kilos. So very strong. She said weight gain, bigger clean and jerk, which generally is, but I don't know what weight she's in this video.
That clean pull under. Her clean is very strong all the time, especially like hang cleans and hang power cleans and stuff. But the pull under of that clean is just so strong.
She has the opposite kind of start to the Russians, where it's like a passive aggressive start. Hers is just very aggressive.
Yeah.
Which is
aggressive.
Yeah, hers is like straight up aggressive. So very, very strong pull under. Great way of lifting.
If I'm correct in saying their coach, her and Kyle's coach is Iranian.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, as far as I'm aware. Definitely Kyle's coach, but I'm not sure if it's also Izzy's coach as well.
Okay.
Great split jerk as well.
Yeah, very, very good. So strong.
Yeah. It's hard to tell what the transfer from a clean front squat jerk is. It's a very individual thing. Some people can do like 5 kilos below their best clean and jerk, and then other people are 20 kilos away.
Yeah.
You know, if you double something in a snatch, you're like 10 to 12 kilos more probably.
Yeah.
Usually about 10 kilos for most people. But a clean front squat jerk, no idea. It could be
No.
anything.
No, there's massive differences.
Then we've got our boy Lasha doing what can only be described as a high intensity GPP phase, and he's doing 230 for set of 7 here, which is as close to as cardio he can get.
If you were to trademark Lasha's squat, it will be lighter than you think, moving faster than you think.
Yeah.
It's like, there's less weight on the bar than I thought there'd be, but oh my God, that's moving very fast.
Now, I normally do, that joke is kind of worn out where it's like, oh, Lash is doing cardio. But, you know, it is a lot. It's 4 more reps than we've ever seen him normally do in the squat. So I assume this is kind of looking at the training block between now and Paris, not Tokyo, now in Paris, where they're like, okay, larger volume phase, changing that kind of muscle architecture, hopefully looking for some more power. Then they'll get into that kind of heavier training later, some neurological stuff. I'd also be wondering, are they trying to gain back some of that weight that he's lost in the last year?
Yeah.
It's
this is gonna sound off the cuff.
right. I feel like it's going to be off the cuff if you're saying that.
I don't think they'd necessarily adapt training to using high volume squats if they were looking to get him to gain a bit of weight.
No, they would, because it's I think in terms of, if you look at the Soviets talked about this actually, and there's like an interesting phenomenon around peaking super heavy lifters. Essentially, because they do so much training, they're very close to a weight loss state or catabolic state for a lot of their training. And obviously a typical peaking phase for super heavies, or for anyone, sorry, should be a decrease in volume. But there's a very fine line when you are super heavy. Obviously the mass is very important. So there's a fine line when you are doing all this training, and then if you stop that volume, you quickly lose some muscle mass. And obviously the muscle mass and muscle tissue is very, very important. They quickly lose weight. So it's a fine line between keeping the volume high. So I think they could be using it. You'd never know. It could be a chance to break from heavier weights.
Yeah. Couple of noteworthy things is how close his toes are to that squat rack.
I wonder, is he using that as some kind of
kinesthetic feedback?
Yeah, kind of like consistent.
Maybe.
It is hard to consistently put your feet in position, like the exact same position, you know?
Yeah. He is the most valuable weightlifting athlete in the world, though.
He's super valuable.
Surely you get some lasers.
Do you know, it's an easy thing to think when you're younger. You know, you're in your 20s and your 30s, and if you're overweight and you're kind of heavy and stuff, you think, okay, the obesity, you know deep down, like, they're going to cause problems, it's going to cause an issue. But you're like, that's, you know, my 50s and 60s, but they come up on you pretty fast, you know. And in your 40s, losing that weight is a lot different than for Lasha losing it now, you know. And as he's already mentioned, you know, he has some heart problems, so
Yeah.
it is something. I wonder how conscious he is of it.
I would like to see his body weight and how it's changed over the last kind of 2 years.
Yes,
What the fluctuations are like.
he was massive there at the Nationals a few years ago. I think it was the year of Tokyo.
Yeah. Like, I'd like to see, Broderick obviously talks about super heavies fluctuating their weight and periodizing their weight gain and weight loss as they go throughout the year. I'd like to see what his weight looks like throughout the year, because we get a snapshot at competition. We never really get to see it, like a longitudinal look at it.
I'd say you'd see very large fluctuations.
Yeah.
Well, it would look large, but percentage-wise, it'd be pretty normal.
Yeah.
Like, you fluctuate between about 10 kilos and you're 120 now, is it? Next, we got Vadim Kozvinikov. He's a friend of the show, been on the podcast. Vadim has been living in, I believe it's Florida. All crazy people go to Florida, I believe. 201 kilo snatch balance, new sports career PR. So he's had shoulder surgery at least once. He might have had twice. And I've got to say, this is a perfect snatch balance.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
His lockout and his back position, you'd struggle to find anyone doing it that nice.
And it's not like it was like snatch power grip jerked over at squat.
No.
Like, it was a legitimate snatch balance.
Yeah.
I wonder why he's pushing these so much. We haven't seen a whole lot of lifting from the ground from him, so I wonder why. Maybe he just wanted to do it.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a little bit of a prep period too. Just pick 2 or 3 things, focus on those.
Like, he's really made a comeback into that lifting, you know. Like, shoulder surgery is usually a major issue and very hard to recover. If you see people like Ritfars or Sorab Maradi recovering the shoulder positions. But he loves his stretching, loves his mobility work, and you see him do it a lot. And he's obviously, you know, while it didn't help him prevent injury, you know, there's only so much mobility to prevent massive double day training loads every day of the year without taking a day off. It's certainly,
For 12 years.
certainly helped him get back into good positions, though.
There's a lot to be said as well for having a weakness and aggressively going after it.
Yeah, I wonder, did he identify this as a major weakness?
Yeah, like, my shoulders are weak. My shoulders were weak before and got injured. But if I can do this with 201 kilos, then they're not going to be weak anymore.
I don't think anyone would say someone snatch balancing 201 kilos would have weak shoulders.
No.
Now we've got, they didn't say the name of this lifter, but this is the heaviest squat recorded by any Chinese weightlifter at 350 kilos. It's
a 350 kilo back squat. I don't. It's a nice squat.
Yeah, it's a 350. I vaguely recognize the lifter, but he's obviously not. Oh, sorry, it is A Yunan. I don't know his numbers, but I know they're nothing amazing in comparison to his squat. But we're not really sure. Like, if we take just Lasha, who we've seen there previously, we've seen him do 320 for a triple, I believe, but with his consummate ease, you know, as Lasha does all these squats. But this looks pretty maximal for Yunan.
It's pretty trademark Chinese as well in terms of positions he's hitting,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of it being so slow through that kind of last third of the squat.
The transfer of the squat to your lift just gets real muddy after a certain absolute weight.
Everything above 300 kilos, I think.
Yeah, I actually
You know.
genuinely think so. It seems to be like that. Once you see lifters get beyond that, it really gets kind of muddy in terms of what you're going to get out of the squat. You know, if you look at like Martzim or someone like that who's massive squats, who squatted 400 kilos, but is obviously nowhere near what Lasha is squatting and lifting. So 350, I would have thought it'd been more, to be honest.
You know, one thing I will say for those Chinese block stands,
Yes.
seem deeply impractical until you're walking 300 kilos forward and you just want to throw them down into something.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought. There was a huge thing there for a while where people really wanted to get a pair of these.
I really wanted to get a pair of these. But then I realised it would just be lunacy.
And they're really hard to move around the place and stuff.
Yeah.
Although those do have wheels. That's very interesting, a little wheel them away. But they take up so much space compared to H stands.
Also because they're so wide, like, you know.
Yeah.
But like, there's definitely a lot of peace of mind just being able to roll it into the little...
And just pop it down.
The little gully.
But you can go too far down as well, you know.
I know.
Overshoot it.
I know.
And then you get just dragged down by a massive amount of weight. Scary.
I don't like the hands on the barbell.
I never like that. It's sick.
Also, your man just standing there like this.
Yeah.
And just like, what's that going to do?
What's he going to do at 350?
Yeah.
It's the big boys at the side who are going to actually save his lifts. Yeah, I don't like that. No matter how much you're not touching the barbell, you're still touching it a little bit.
No, you're still there though.
There's a little bit of force
You're
transfer.
just still there.
You're stealing some of that force transfer. Like effectively, Yunnan squatted 349.9 here. You know, if you think about it.
If you're being realistic.
Yeah, he's got the. In fairness, though, he's wearing essentially tissue paper on his knees, like, so it's not like this is a super equipped lift. And
I also don't think he's wearing a belt.
So is this a heaviest raw squat? In the IPF, he'd be natty. So moving
he's
on.
Probably on less drugs than them though.
Oh, this
there
guy.
He is. There he is.
We have what is essentially an unknown Scottish weightlifter benching 170 for a triple.
Scottish rugby player.
What did I say?
Weightlifter.
Shit. So we have here is a unknown Scottish rugby player benching 170 for a very, very clean triple.
Jesus Christ, it's not a bother to him.
Not a bother. I don't mind when the rugby players get a little hips into it.
No, neither do I.
Not when it's 170 for 3. 170 for 3 is worth a lot more with a little hip than
100%.
as opposed to 150 for 2 with no
Yeah.
hip, you know?
Also, what's the hip's going to do negatively for a rugby player?
Exactly.
He's not going to get marked. He's not going to get 2 red lights and a white light, you know?
He's still pressing 170 for a triple.
Jesus, that's so good as well.
Have you
There's no like grindy, shaky lockout either. It's just...
Yeah. The lockout is really strong.
Oh, yeah.
He seems to have full range of motion in his shoulders
Which
and elbows.
is bizarre.
Yeah, it's not. And
It's not normal for a rugby player.
he's wearing Adidas. You've been watching any of the rugby games in the any Scottish rugby in the Six Nations yet?
Yeah.
How are they looking? I haven't watched any of their games.
Good.
Usual?
Better than usual, but not. Yeah.
I would be interested. They haven't tagged
Not
this
to
player.
offend anyone.
I don't know who this is.
John's looking great in the Six Nations, Gareth.
Who's looking great?
Ireland.
Ireland looking great in Six Nations.
Ireland are looking like the best rugby team in the world.
Because they are.
'Kay.
Now, controversial bench here. But I
think it's a liberal use of the word bench.
So this is Carlos, who's a Spanish shot putter. He has a PB in the shot put of 20.57 meters. He is seen here benching, if you want to call it bench. I'm calling it benching because he's unracking 300 kilos and then putting 300 kilos back from arm's length. He's taking it all the way down and all the way back up. So on the barbell, there's 300 kilos. And on his chest, he appears to have some kind of foam or rubber, a foam or rubber. It's aggressive.
It's insane.
That's a lot of pressure on his sternum.
Yeah. That's unsafe. Like, if you were to squat that quickly and get the bar to whip that much, you would struggle to whip the bar that much in a squat. You really would.
This is kind of it. You really, really would, yeah. Well, no, having past experiences of 300 just whips by itself when you touch it.
Yeah, but not that aggressively. And
this is so interesting, right? Because there's potentially there's potentially positive effects from the facilitative kind of loading here, but the facilitative loading isn't coming in the usual form. It's not like a pulley system when he's jumping or something like that, or it's coming from the pad on his chest. So it's assisting him in moving 300 kilos faster. So he's moving 300 kilos, which is beneficial, of course, for a shot putter. And like we talk about, heavy weights fast is really important for power athletes. Strength training and resistance training itself is important, but then also moving those heavy weights fast is also quite useful for that. And he's getting assistance to move the 300 kilos faster. So technically, he could be getting some benefit. He could be.
He could be, definitely.
You love accommodated training.
I
Not
love
accommodated,
it.
you facilitated training.
I love it, right?
Yeah.
My only thing...
Forget
this
about the
is
dangers.
unbelievably.
Forget about the owies.
Forgetting the owies and the danger.
Yeah.
The only thing about this particular rep is his feet aren't even on the ground as it's going up, you know? Like...
I think you're just focused on the danger path too much. Carlos is crazy. He doesn't
I know
care.
Carlos is obviously crazy. It's unbelievably impressive.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably impressive and crazy strong.
Yeah. What's the problem?
I didn't say there's a problem.
You're saying there's an unsaid but at the end of every
It's just a little
sentence.
bit. Dukes of Hazzard jumping in. You know I love jumping in the windows and moving cars.
Yeah.
But this is...
No, I agree with you. I totally. I
Lunacy.
was just playing devil's advocate. That's crazy. It's lunacy. I know why they're doing that. It's still very impressive.
Yeah,
whatever
crazy,
it is.
crazy strong.
But not only like potential for a miss there, the barbell breaking a limb or slipping off the pad or something. You know, it's just so many things of potentially to go wrong
And
here.
Death. Actual death.
Certainly, career-ending
Death.
limb movements.
Death ends careers.
One of them could be death, but there's many other possibilities here.
It's just when you see how... Look at the feet.
Yeah. I'm like, if the barbell went too far back, because obviously you're getting kind of a spring effect. The barbell going too far back, dislocating a shoulder, elbow, destroying some bones. Obviously, just pressure on his sternum as well, so potentially cracking something
or just that wrist or the elbow dislocates at the bottom and it just slips off.
No. And he's only got...
Slips off. You have a 300 kilo guillotine.
But he's also... That coach is no way... The coach can't catch 300 kilos as well.
I'd say that coach's a horse.
No, but
He looks like a man who smokes cigarettes and picks barbells off people's neck for a living.
But you just can't catch 300 kilos in your hands with a mixed grip like
No
that.
way.
That's not possible.
You can't catch it with any grip.
No, but if there was a few people there, maybe.
Yeah.
But obviously a valuable national
The
athlete.
fella in the background is asking him how many sets he has left.
He's going to help him if something happens.
By doing what?
Next up, we've got Robert Forstman. You've seen Robert a few times on the show and with one of our big reaction videos. So Robert is a velodrome or kind of track cyclist or power cyclist, notorious for a massive ass and legs, a big dumpy in quads. And we've seen a lot of these single leg squats from him recently. Now you would remember track and fields last week doing the 190 for a triple. Similar device, which we're not a huge fan of really, but doing 200 kilos for 3. Now, I will give track and fields, his knee did touch the ground.
Okay.
Whereas Roberts are lower range of motion, but he's obviously not as long.
You know they have those exercise bikes now where you can charge a phone. When you plug your phone in and when you cycle, it charges your phone.
How fast do you have to be
Have you
going?
seen those?
No, I haven't seen those.
Just kind of like sauntering along and it will charge your phone as you're cycling.
Will it charge it reasonably fast?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, the amperage is pretty low on phone charging. Like
He.
I'd say Robert Forstman could...
It's not
Power-
Forstman, it's Forstman.
Forstman.
Yeah. Someone will correct us, you know.
I'd say Robert
Yeah.
could
Bob.
power a small arc welding plant.
No, Bob.
Or a small TIG welder for you.
We've actually seen Bob.
Bob.
Very famous video where he's powering a toaster to toast some bread.
Yes.
And it was
Yes.
very difficult. He was
Yes.
going ham. So I don't think it's not that easy. Elements are notoriously inefficient for heat.
He's a beast.
And he did toast the bread, but
Yeah.
he was fucked after it.
Yeah.
You know, so you couldn't set up a restaurant with Robert.
No.
With Bobby.
But you
powering.
could have like, you know, those small charging stations they have in like swimming pools where you lock your phone in a cabinet and there's a cable in it.
with
And
the,
you can charge your phone in a locked cabinet then.
inside the Faraday cage.
And then Rob or Bobby.
Bobby
The cyclist.
I feel like Germans don't use the Robert
Bob.
Do you think they use the Robert the Bob thing?
Bob.
It's more of an English thing, really,
Yeah.
isn't
Bobbert.
it? Okay. Next up, we've got William Brown, Hammer 2110, who's a hammer thrower, but also dalliancing in some weightlifting with, yes, you've heard this right, a 275 kilo front squat. High,
No, it is just lunacy.
perfect front squat.
It's unbelievable.
It's a really high belt position you see deadlifters use sometimes, and then some knee wraps. All comp legal for weightlifting, I suppose. But 275 kilos.
How does he have a front rack?
He's very fast. His lifts are really quick as
Yeah.
well. Like, he's very in good positions, you know.
What are his weightlifting numbers, Gareth? 130, 160?
But there's videos of doing those bouncy cleans with 190 and
Okay.
throwing. So he's very new to weightlifting competitions, I would
Yes.
imagine. Down in Australia, it's
275 kilo front squat.
he's doing the little crab walk into the bar where he's not really bending his knees, which is kind of funny. So 275 kilos. I think that's enough for front squat for anything he'll ever want to clean and jerk.
Yeah, he could never front squat again and be strong enough forever.
I think so.
Yeah.
This just came out of nowhere. So again, this is one of the things people tagged us in. I just wasn't sure if this is correct because look at these numbers. It was like 130, 160-ish. And I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. They're in competition.
Yeah.
But
Is it a 175 front squat? No.
No,
it's 100 kilos more.
It's
It's
275.
520 kilo plates more.
He looks like if he pushed for it, he could get into the 290s, maybe 300.
Yeah.
The walkout doesn't even look that difficult for him watching this.
Geez, the squat definitely doesn't look difficult.
Now, next up, we have Bearded Warrior 1, or in Daraj, is a 120 kilo GBR Great Britain powerlifter doing 370 for a double with the conventional deadlift.
With relative ease as well.
Relative ease. Then a back off triple at 320 or 332.5 kilos. Very nice conventional deadlift.
Really just solid technique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we talked about the aggression of the start position of some of the weightlifters earlier. No overly aggressive rip off the floor. No like shaking. No nothing. Just grip the barbell. Move it with control.
I will be first in line to say deadlifting in your barefoot is much better. But the shoes that people have made for deadlifting have yet to make me think they look funny. To not make me think they look funny.
Oh yeah, there's
All
not
of-
a normal looking pair yet.
No one has made a normal looking pair of deadlifting shoes. I think the Vivos are probably as close as you can
Vivos
get.
are pretty good.
Yeah, they look.
The Innovates are pretty good for deadlifting.
So you just want something completely flat, you know. The Innovate have a bit of a chunky heel in them.
Yeah.
These are those kind of high ankle things.
Chunky heel in your opinion is 10 mil like.
Yeah, it is. You know what, Dara? Biologically, it's chunky as well, you know. So I'm waiting for someone to make a nicer looking, not a
Yes.
weird, like. Most of them look like the shoes you put on for the beach, so your feet don't get cut.
Oh yeah.
Rock
yeah,
shoes. A lot of them look like that. Actually, I'd go so far as to say they look
yeah.
better.
Rubber dinghy boots.
They look better than that.
Yeah, but the problem is if they made a pair that didn't look weird, weirdos like you would wear them to the shop. You would. You'd love that.
Weirdos like you. What do you mean you?
Like you.
What do you mean you people?
You would wear them to the shop.
This is all on video now, so you want to be careful what you're saying. Are you profiling me?
I know how you like to judge
Sorry.
your footwear.
Sorry, no. You're wearing Nano 2s. Orange Nano 2s.
That I got for free.
Orange Nano 2s
I
or
got
whatever.
for free in 2014.
Are they 2s? Maybe a little bit later.
Could be Nano 1.
You're wearing Nanos. So you need to take that judgy little look and put it back in a bucket and get back in your box, sir.
They have the Meta split sole. These are old shoes.
You're wearing a Reebok CrossFit
I
shoe.
got these off of somebody who didn't want them anymore in 2014.
There, you're wearing orange shoes and you said someone like you.
They're also size 12 and I'm a size 10 foot.
You said weirdos like you.
No, I didn't.
You said that.
Did I say weirdos?
Yeah, you said weirdos
I think
like
I
you.
said weird people like you.
Same thing. And you're wearing orange Nano Reebok CrossFit
They go
shoes.
pretty well. Like.
Reebok CrossFit isn't even a brand
I
anymore.
call them a statement piece. Yes, it is.
What statement are you possibly making?
Not sure.
You've bad
That
taste
I'm
in
ready
shoes.
for anything.
Yeah.
And if I had to do a rope climb, I'd have shoes that would put up with it.
Let he who slung the first mud cast the first stone, sir. Now, finally, sticking with the theme of deadlifts, we've got Ivan Markov attempting a 505 kilo deadlift and getting it to the knee, but alas, no further.
Yeah. This video kind of annoys me because it's in slow motion. It's doing that thing we talked about earlier where you can't really figure out if that lift was makeable or not.
To be honest, Dara, if you get 505 exactly to your knee joint, I think you have a better chance than, for example, 99% of the rest of the 99.999%
I
of
have
the
no doubt.
population of making 505.
The crazy thing is, on the day he attempted this,
Right.
it's likely that nobody else in the world could have made that attempt.
That's fair.
Because
Yeah.
nobody else, like, so there's probably 5 people in the world who are in a position to attempt that kind of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the likelihood that one of those would be peaked and ready to hit it? So he's literally the only. There's more people prepared to go to space on a shuttle currently than are able to attempt that right now.
There's more people who want to go live and die on Mars.
Yeah.
Ivan Markov Strong, I think, has earned his name Ivan Markov Strong. So he's got 436 kilo deadlift here in training.
He's also asking you to write him a DM. Did you write him a DM?
For a program?
Just for, a new program deadlift.
He's very fast with the knees back, and it's probably what's killing him. But I'm not sure how easy it is to change technical habits at a 505 kilo deadlift is a problem. Someone's going to break it soon. Someone's going to,
having a max deadlift that is half of that.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine it's quite difficult to change.
501 by Tor, right, was, you broke the barrier, but you didn't really, 5 kilo. It's minimum 5 kilos. Everyone knows it's minimum 5 kilos. Everyone knows he did that just to fuck with Eddie.
It's like when somebody puts a change plate on the inside and then stacks all their plates and is like, yeah, that was actually 91 kilos.
No, do you know when they warm up with that?
Yeah.
It doesn't even count if you warm up with it the whole way.
No, that's doesn't count at all.
You have to put that on the bar when you're going for PB.
Yeah.
So, look, Tor did 501. Yeah, super impressive. Okay, 501 deadlift. All right, no one else has done that. Okay, whatever, conventional. Okay, right. But you got to go minimum 5 kilos. Everyone knows that's the rule.
And this would have been... That's why I just love to see an actual speed.
And see what actually happened.
Because if it was super jerking off or super slow off the floor...
Mm-hmm.
Someone actually made a pretty good point in the comment. If that was an inch higher, he could have started hitching that and gotten it up.
Yeah, an inch is a lot though, and it's not easy to come by, right? Thanks for watching, guys.